Today we're going to look at how you can analyse short-term rental markets with our Airbnb and Vrbo data. So first, you want to select the area you want to research. So we're going to choose Scotland, we're going to choose Glasgow, we're going to choose the city centre. So the first tab you'll see is the overview tab. This gives a high-level overview of the area and insights into the kind of general makeup of the market in terms of the amenities in a property, the sizes of the general properties in the area, as well as entire, if you can see here, entire place, private rooms, and we also give it a grade in terms of its investability. So if we go down this left side quickly, we can see you have charts on rental type, will that be private rooms or entire homes, the channels, the size of the properties, whether that be a 1 bed, 2 bed, 3 bed, 4 bed, the rental growth in the area, along with the amenities, the average number of days available at properties the properties are available. So for example, we can see here there's 519 properties that were available between 181 to 270 days last year. You can also see the number of properties that were booked up between X number of days, and we can also see the cancellation policies and the minimum stay requirement as well. You also get this map where you can zoom in. You can zoom in on properties, hover over them, and view how many days that were available, what the occupancy rate was, what the daily rate was, and what the revenue was. You can do that for any property that's on Airbnb or Vrbo. It's a great way just to get some brief, quick information on properties that are surrounding the exact area where you're looking to add your portfolio, or get more information, or maybe make a purchase. The second tab looks at pretty much the supply, demand, and occupancy rate in the area. So the first chart looks at the occupancy rate by percentile. So we can see here in December 20, for example, the 90th percentile means the top 10% of properties had an occupancy rate of 100%. The top 25% of properties had an average occupancy rate of 75%, and so on. Again, we can see if you look at February 22, you can see that the top 10% of properties had an average occupancy rate of 92%, and again, so forth, all the way down the percentiles. Now, if you want to look at supply, the active listings chart gives a good indication of the supply of listings and properties in the area. We can see that there was a large spike around COP26, where lots of people put their homes on the market in Glasgow to take advantage of the conference that came to the city. We can see since then there's been a gradual decrease of properties back to the norm as people start to take their properties back off the site. Demand growth, so this looks at demand in the area, so we can see here that when hovering over, you can see two stats. You can see the number of properties that were booked within the month, and you can also see the number of listing nights that were booked within the month, and you can see how this demand plays out. We can see that there's been strong demand ever since April 21, the end of COVID. There's been a return to strong demand for rentals in the city. We can also use the filters here to filter this down to further filter an analysis if you want to look at only properties with a certain number of bedrooms or a certain number of accommodation numbers. The second tab allows us to look at the average daily rates. Again, you can filter this data by number of bedrooms and price tiers, so whether you want to look at budget properties, economy properties, mid-scale, upscale, luxury, but we also, further down here, split this into different brackets for you anyway. We can see that by far the highest average the highest average daily rate is for luxury properties. We can then see that goes down to upscale, mid-scale, economy, and budget. So you can see the average kind of budget average daily rate is just under £100. Mid-scale you're looking at 133, upscale you're looking at 177, and then luxury you're looking at around the £350 a night mark. Again, this map on the right hand side is the same map as that was in the overview. Again, we can also look at the revenue. We can look at average revenue per percentile on a daily basis, so that's weekly. and monthly. We go to weekly, and we can see this broken down by percentile, so we can see the top 10% of properties in that week achieved £1,100 of revenue, and so forth down the percentiles. We can then put that into monthly as well. Look at the monthly revenue, so we can see the top 10% properties in Glasgow on average achieved £3,760 of income within that month, the month of April. We can also see that broken down by bedroom. We can also look at the total market revenue as well by property type, whether that be Airbnb, B&Bs, apartments, house, villas, etc. These again can all be filtered by bedroom and price tier. We can also look at pacing, which looks at the future and looks at what the average daily rates are in the future, what the available rate is, what the booked rate is, and what the booked rate was the previous year. So we can see both numbers are considerably higher than the booked rate from the previous year. We can also look at booking trends. We can also, this is probably one of my favourite graphs that's on offer on the platform. So you can look ahead to the future dates. We looked at the number of properties that are on the market. So we can see here on the 1st of February 23, we can see that there's a total of 1,389 listings still available to be booked. 144 have been booked. They've on average been booked for £98 a night, whereas the median rate of properties still available in the market is 148, and it's currently sitting at 9% occupancy for that night. Again, you can change these here by filtering out to be more aligned to your property. If you do have properties on your Airbnb, you can add them via the Your Listing section, and once you add them, you can actually view the future demand rate analysis, which is in direct comparison to the comparables that you have selected for your property. You can also look at the top properties in Glasgow as well. So we can see this is by revenue. You can change that revenue, average daily rate, and reviews. You can also filter this down by type, bedrooms and accommodation, whether it's single family or multifamily. We can see the properties on the map, and then we can zoom in on the map to see where they're located, give you a better understanding of their location to each other and whereabouts they are. And you can also hover over here and view their revenue. And finally, you can also view our seasonality page, which shows you the median rate, booked rate over the past 12 months. You can also look at the monthly RevPAR and the booking lead time, and then you can break this down by month as well to see what the average days, what the average lead times were of those booked days. So that's a quick tour on how you can use our Airbnb data to analyse any location in the UK. If you want to choose any location, you can just click the drop down, select the areas, and then you can just select the cities and towns from within there. For any location in the UK, we have the data that you need.